Hey, today's practice is going to be a backbend sequence for beginners. And we're going to be doing that in a little bit of a slow flow yoga style. So kind of moving a little bit more dynamically between the different postures. You can start by coming to your hands and knees. And we're going to start to do some variations of the cat and cow, focused also on breathing. So on the inhale, you're going to arch the spine, look a little forward. And on the exhale, you're rounding, dropping the head down. Inhaling as you start to arch. And exhaling to round. And just continuing this at your own pace. Seeing if you can use a nice full inhale to open through the chest. Nice full exhale to round. And you want to keep here a little bit of heaviness through the hands and allow the arms to be long and active versus elbows bent and weight a little away from the hands. See if you can really balance out the pace of each inhale and each exhale. And possibly starting to explore a bit of a gentle pause at the end of each breath and the end of each movement. So you're exhaling, the end of the exhale, slight pause, and then inhaling, slight pause, and just continuing this a couple more times. And then coming back to a neutral position. And from here, we're going to drop the elbows down. Now you can stay here if you like, or you can start to walk the arms a little further forward and drop the chest down. Now, if this feels quite intense, feel free to have the arms a little closer. Shoulders maybe a bit more lifted, so you might have the elbows down versus front of the shoulders down completely. And we'll stay here for 3 slow and steady breaths. From here, you can come up to your hands and knees. And we're going to move into a different slow now. So on the exhale, you're going to sink the hips down for your child's pose. Inhaling, coming up to your hands and knees. Exhale, lowering down to your belly. And inhale, feet stay heavy as you lift the chest a little up for a small cobra. And then you can press back through the hands and knees and sinking back to your child's pose. We'll do this a few times. So inhaling, exhale to lower. Inhale, keep shoulders nice and heavy. Exhaling, come back through hands and knees. Child's pose. And just doing this a few more times at your own tempo. Taking your time here with each transition. Seeing if you can allow the hands to be heavy here. Allow a little bit of control to come through the strength of the belly. A nice, slow, deep breathing. There is one part of the transition that you're moving a little faster in. See if you can slow that down So each movement is kind of happening at the same pace, same tempo. And we'll do this one more time. And then we're going to pause a few slow and steady breaths in child's pose. Option to either have the elbows bent here so shoulders can relax a little more, or you could have the elbows lifted and be a little bit more active in the arms. Staying here one more breath. And then from here, we're going to come again back through the hands and knees and lowering down to the belly. Now we're going to do a few small cobras here. So your hands are under the shoulders, your elbows want to draw in, so kind of drawing them in towards your rib cage. Inhale, lifting up for your cobra. And exhale to lower down. Inhaling for your cobra. And exhaling back down. And every time we're doing this, we're seeing if we can keep the belly a little firm. And we're just coming up a small way, so we're also strengthening a little our lower back. The next time you come up, we're going to pause here a few breaths. So slightly adjust the position of the hands as you need. Hands could be on the ground or hands could be floating here. The nice thing if you've got the hands hovering is you can really use the strength of the lower back. We're keeping it quite small here, so finding more stability versus flexibility. Staying here one more breath. And then you can press back through the hands and knees and coming back again to your child's pose. Relax the head down. And take a couple of slow and steady breaths. If child's pose, by the way, doesn't feel comfortable for you, another variation you could try is kind of reverse child's pose on the belly. So you might have one knee bent, supporting the cheek with the hands. And you can be here instead of child's pose. So either staying in this reverse child's pose or the regular child's pose, 2 more breaths. And then from here, you can slowly transition back down onto your belly again. Now we're going to work a little bit more on our Salabhasana now. So this time we're reaching the arms out in front, head drops down. We're going to lift up the right arm and the left leg on the inhale, and then exhaling to lower down. Inhale, left arm, right leg. And exhale. Inhale, right arm, left leg. And exhale. And just continuing this a couple more times at your own tempo. And you don't want to just be thinking lifting that arm and leg up. There's also the feeling of the arm reaching forward and the leg reaching back away from you. We'll do this one more time to each side. Then you're going to keep both feet heavy. Inhale, lift the arms a little up. You can be looking down or looking forward, allowing the tops of the feet to ground as you reach the arms forward and lengthen. And then exhale to slowly lower down again. And again, we'll either come to our reverse child's pose. You might bend the opposite knee, rest the opposite cheek, or you could come back to that regular child's pose if you prefer. Staying here 3 more breaths. Slowly from here, you can release. We're going to come back to our hands and knees, and then coming down to sitting. Great. So we're going to finish off with the bridge pose. You can come to lie down on the back, setting your feet up about hip distance apart, arms alongside the body. And then you're inhaling, lifting up through the hips. You can also start to reach, if you like, the arms up. Arms might come slowly overhead. And then exhale, drop the hips down and drop the arms down again. We'll do this a few times. So inhale, lift up through the hips. Arms could come up if you like. Arms could come overhead. And then exhaling to drop back down again. And we'll do this a few more times. So inhale, find that strength through the feet. Exhale, lower back down. And every time we lift up, we're also keeping the belly firm. So that's really important here for all of these back bends. Despite us kind of arching the spine a little, we're also wanting to find that stability here in the belly. This time we're going to keep the arms down on the ground. Inhale again, lift up through the hips, and then see if you can walk the shoulder blades together, interlace the fingers, lift up through the hips, and reach the chest towards your chin. Staying here a few slow and steady breaths. So feet are heavy, hips are lifting. And then exhale, you can slowly release. Bring the feet together, knees apart. Hands can rest on the thighs. Softly close through the eyes. Allow your breath to slow back down again. And then you can slowly open the eyes, knees come in, feet come flat again. And we're going to try this a couple more times, coming up into the posture and holding the pose. So inhale again, lifting up through the hips, really engage through the legs. Walk the shoulder blades together. Arms could be long or hands could be interlaced here. See if you can reach your knees towards your toes and lengthen the chest towards your chin. Slowly exhaling again, releasing. Feet together, knees wide. Hands can drop down to the thighs again. Letting the breath slow down. Then we're going to try this one more time, a little bit more focused on the breathing this time. So setting the feet up in the same way. Inhale, lift the hips. If it's comfortable, hips can lift more. You're interlacing the fingers. And then see if you can focus on slowing down the inhale and slowing down the exhale. So inhale through the nose. And exhale. Inhale and exhale. Staying here, one more breath. Inhale and exhale. And then you're slowly releasing. Once more, feet together, knees apart, hands resting on the thighs, softly closing through the eyes. From here, you can bring the knees again in towards each other, roll over onto one side, and coming up to sitting again. Great. So thanks for practicing along. These are some of the most, I would say, supportive and active backbends that you can start working on. You'll see the ones on the belly are pretty sort of easy to understand in terms of the posture and alignment, but then actually being able to breathe and integrate that, there's still a little bit of work going on. So I'd suggest definitely using those backbends as a starting point. And then you can also start to work with the bridge pose to, really kind of refine and create a bit more space in your backbends. If you want to explore more tips about practicing the bridge pose, I've got a separate video for that, so you could maybe try that next. Thanks a lot for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.